Thank you for joining me today. My name's Tina Spalding. I am a trance channel. Today we are doing our daily Course in Miracles lesson together. Today we are doing lesson number 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Let us review the meaning of forgive, for it is apt to be distorted and to be perceived as something that entails an unfair sacrifice of righteous wrath, a gift unjustified and undeserved, and a complete denial of the truth. In such a view, forgiveness must be seen as mere eccentric folly, and this course appear to rest salvation on a whim. This twisted view of what forgiveness means is easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not asked for what is true. It must be limited to what is false. It is irrelevant to everything except illusions. Truth is God's creation, and to pardon that is meaningless. All truth belongs to Him. Reflect His laws and radiate His love. Does this need pardon? How can you forgive the sinless and eternally benign? The major difficulty that you find in genuine forgiveness on your part is that you still believe you must forgive the truth and not illusions. You conceive of pardon as a vain attempt to look past what is there, to overlook the truth, in an unfounded effort to deceive yourself by making an illusion true. This twisted viewpoint but reflects the hold that the idea of sin retains as yet upon your mind as you regard yourself. Because you think your sins are real, you look on pardon as deception. For it is impossible to think of sin as true and not believe forgiveness is a lie. Thus is forgiveness really but a sin like all the rest. It says the truth is false and smiles on the corrupt as if they were as blameless as the grass, as white as snow. It is delusional in what it thinks it can accomplish. It would see as right the plainly wrong, the loathsome as good. Pardon is no exception in such a view. It merely is a further sign that sin is unforgivable, at best to be concealed, denied, or called another name. For pardon is a treachery to truth. Guilt cannot be forgiven. If you sin, your guilt is everlasting. Those who are forgiven from the view their sins are real are pitifully mocked and twice condemned, first by themselves for what they think they did, and once again by those who pardon them. It is sin's unreality that makes forgiveness natural and wholly sane, a deep belief to those who offer it, a quiet blessing where it is received. It does not countenance illusion, but collects them lightly with a little laugh and gently lays them at the feet of truth, and there they disappear entirely. Forgiveness is the only thing that stands for truth in the illusions of the world. It sees their nothingness and looks straight through the thousand forms in which they may appear. It looks on lies, but is not deceived. It does not heed the self-accusing shrieks of sinners mad with guilt. It looks on them with quiet eyes and merely says to them, my brother, what you think is not the truth. The strength of pardon is its honesty, which is so uncorrupted that it sees illusions as illusions, not as truth. It is because of this that it becomes the undeceiver in the face of lies, the great restorer of the simple truth. By its ability to overlook what is not there, it opens up the way to truth, which has been blocked by dreams of guilt. Now are you free to follow in the way your true forgiveness opens up to you. For if one brother has received this gift of you, the door is open to yourself. There is a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness and perceive it open wide and welcome. When you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for that is self-deception. Ask instead, would I accuse myself of doing this? Thus will you see alternatives for choice in terms that render choosing meaningful, and keep your mind as free of guilt and pain as God Himself intended it to be, and as it is in truth. It is but lies that would condemn. In truth is innocence the only thing there is. Forgiveness stands between illusions and the truth, between the world you see and that which lies beyond, between the hell of guilt and heaven's gate. Across this bridge as powerful as love which laid its blessing on it are all dreams of evil and of hatred and attack brought silently to truth. They are not kept to swell and bluster and to terrify the foolish dreamer who believes in them. He has been gently wakened from his dream by understanding what he thought he saw was never there, and now he cannot feel that all escape has been denied him. He does not have to fight to save himself. He does not have to kill the dragons which he thought pursued him, nor need he erect the heavy wall of stone and iron doors he thought would make him safe. He can remove the ponderous and useless armor made to chain his mind to fear and misery. His step is light, and as he lifts his foot to stride ahead, a star is left behind to point the way to those who follow him. Forgiveness must be practiced, for the world cannot perceive its meaning, nor provide a guide to teach you its beneficence. There is no thought in all the world that leads to any understanding of the laws it follows, nor the thought that it reflects. It is as alien to the world as your own reality, and yet it joins your mind with the reality in you. Today we practice true forgiveness, that the time of joining be no more delayed, for we would meet with our reality in freedom and in peace. Our practicing becomes the footsteps, lighting up the way for all our brothers who will follow us to the reality we share with them. That this may be accomplished, let us give a quarter of an hour twice today and spend it with the guide who understands the meaning of forgiveness and was sent to us to teach it. Let us ask of him, "Let me perceive forgiveness as it is." Then choose one brother as he will direct and catalogue his sins as one by one they cross your mind. Be certain not to dwell on any one of them, but realize that you are using his offenses but to save the world from all ideas of sin. Briefly consider all the evil things you thought of him, and each time ask yourself, would I condemn myself for doing this? Let him be freed from all the thoughts you had of sin in him, and now you are prepared for freedom. If you have been practicing thus far in willingness and honesty, you will begin to sense a lifting up, a lightening of weight across your chest, a deep and certain feeling of relief. The time remaining should be given to experiencing the escape from all the heavy chains you sought to lay upon your brother, but were laid upon yourself. Forgiveness should be practiced throughout the day, for there will still be many times when you forget its meaning and attack yourself. When this occurs, allow your mind to see through this illusion as you tell yourself, "Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Would I accuse myself of doing this? I will not lay this chain upon myself." In everything you do, remember this: no one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. And that is lesson number 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. And let's see what Jesus has to say to us today. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and it is so important for you to realize that your judgments and your hatreds and your attacks, even though you think they are justified, put you in hell. It is you that is suffering because of a constant litany of decisions that things should be other than the way they are. It is simply arguing with reality. When you begin to love what is, regardless of whether you understand it or not, when you see something happening out in the world, when you see somebody behaving in a way that you think is inappropriate, how about you start saying, I actually don't know everything, and I don't know what this person's path is. I don't know what role they're playing in this grand design. I will just observe with forgiving eyes for a little while. I will not be sucked in by the news media. I will not be sucked in by my friend's repetition of the news media. I will simply say, I don't know. That is forgiving. When you step back from attack, when you step back from gossip, when you step back from pretending that you know why people do things and how they should be punished, in fact, playing God is what you are doing. When you realize that you are playing God and that you have no qualifications to do so, becoming a passerby with all of the dramas of this life becomes easier and easier and easier. What seems like a good idea in January turns out to be a bad idea in June. What turns out to be a bad idea in June turns out to be a good idea in September. If you are patient and you allow life to play out without leaping and jumping to ignorant conclusions, you are going to find that you suffer less and less. You will realize, my first instinct was to get in there and say that, but now a week later, I am hearing the other side of the story, for example. Or I'm seeing that the problem resolved itself and everybody within the problem actually needed a stimulus to begin communication, or they needed a challenge to get themselves over a little hump. And what seemed to be bad was not bad. And so had you become involved in it, had you participated in the drama, perhaps you would have even derailed a beneficial situation. Do not be so sure that you know what everyone is up to. We suggest that you pay attention to what you're up to, that you look upon the world with forgiving eyes, knowing that it has its own energies, that people are playing out their own dramas, many of them not yours. How about you focus on your life? Are you focusing enough on your life, or are you involved with things across the other side of the planet, other people's business? Are you neglecting your own life? Are you projecting all of your energies to situations, people, places, and things that really have nothing to do with you? Bring back your focus, call back those little tendrils of your awareness, and begin to employ them in the doing of good for your life, investing in your life, cultivating your mind, educating yourself about these spiritual truths and spiritual principles, being loving in your life. Step back from judging everybody. That is the practice of forgiveness. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you everyone for joining me today. See you tomorrow. Bye.